the City podcast.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back another edition of Keys to the City. I'm your host, Trevor Keys, alongside the big brother, Ted Keys, and the host from the Rich Sports Talk, Nolan Rich, joining us again. And it is November 22nd, and Ted has Christmas stuff up. Why? We're not even at Thanksgiving yet.
Week of Thanksgiving is fine. It's not like November.
Come on.
Mariah Carey's was playing her freaking song November 1st, which drives me nuts. Like,
Yo, last night somebody played. They were playing Mariah Carey at the bar. I went out last night for a few drinks, and I said, "Turn it off," and they turned it off. I'm not listening to no Christmas stuff yet. It's not even Thanksgiving.
I don't even think that hot take. That's not that great of a Christmas song. I love how it's
hot
become
take.
the
It's
anthem.
the most overrated song.
Yeah, overrated. Like, is Mariah Carey like that? Like that? She's made a career off that one song. Like, I swear, like that's half her revenue.
Just like also, Elf is the most overrated movie of all time.
Whoa. I think Christmas Story is more overrated than that.
Whoa, no Christmas Story. But yes, we are Keys to the City. You can check us out when we are live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And if you don't get to check out the live show, you can check out us at Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Twitch, and at CT Politics at Roku, Amazon. And if you want, you could check out, if you're a Jet fan, you could check out Rich Sports Talk. We're just talking about overrated. We're just talking about Christmas and Thanksgiving and all that overrated baloney. Well, Sunday was I don't know what do we want to say about Sunday. The Sunday was, we talked about it the other day. We talked about it last
New York Blues, bro.
The New York Blues are back, it seems like, but we were talking about it. Was it make or break for the New York Giants and the New York Jets? We'll also be talking about the top of the NFC right now. Pretty much it looks like a 3-team race. We'll talk about that. 49ers, Cowboys, and Philly. Who do we think is the team to beat in the NFC? But we did say make or break for the New York Giants and the New York Jets this weekend. And after this weekend, well, it's great. You got the Giant fan, Ted, and you got the Jet fan, so we get both perspectives after two ugly performances by both franchises. Ted, I'm going to start with you, and I'll get into Nolan. We'll talk about it, both teams. When you look at how both of these games went, the New York Jets led by a dominant defense. It's almost like a Super Bowl caliber type defense, and only having 2 yards in the first half. And then the New York Giants, 7-2 coming in against a feisty Detroit Lions team, a team that likes to bite the kneecaps, as Dan Campbell likes to preach. And they did. They beat up on the New York Giants for 60 minutes. They punched them in the mouth, Ted, like you said, and the Giants never responded. Now, I know they were due to more and more injuries. The plethora of injuries continued to build for the Giants. Ted, was Sunday a telling sign in the Big Apple for both the New York Giants and the New York Jets moving forward?
Oh, absolutely. Hey, I might want to bring the mic in here.
Yeah, you might want to bring the mic in, bro. We don't want to hear you no mic. We want to hear clarity.
Yeah, I know.
But it was a little more clearer for us for Sunday.
Let's be realistic, okay? We're both fans of each other's teams, okay? Nolan's a huge New York Jet fan. Trev, you and me are both Giants fans. But if the Jets, if the Jets were in the playoffs, I'd root for the Jets, okay? Especially because I have certain family members. We should be grateful for where both teams are.
Absolutely.
At. Okay, now we both understand that if we were looking at this team talent-wise, the Giants are not as talented as the Jets are. The Jets are a much more talented team, okay? They have a legit star corner in Sauce Gardner. They have great defensive line. Giants do too, all right? But if you're just looking the whole – if I break it down, what this is, the Jets have more star talent right now, okay? Doesn't make them a better team. Doesn't make them a worse team, all right? When I look at the Giants, listen, we're 7-3. God, I haven't seen 7 wins in 3 years. Okay, so it's a plethora of excitement. It's been fun to watch this team, but this team is really not 7-3. This team is really a 4-3 team, and if 7-3, it's 10. So this team is more of a 5-5 team. That's what really the Giants are. They are lucky to be 7-3. Okay, they haven't blown anyone out. They've only scored over 24 points once this whole season. Their offense isn't great. They have no receivers, and in a league where the game is known to throw the football down the field and score points, we do the opposite of that. Okay, we play situational football. We do all the right things. Our Quarterback has not turned the ball over. We've played winning football. We've played basic winning football. The old school mentality. Let's run the football. Let's not turn the ball. Let's play good on third down. Let's play great situations. Let's make sure we do right on special teams. Don't give up any free or easy plays, long kickoffs, and let the other team make the mistake. And the Giants, what's made the Giants great this season is they've played their best football in the last quarter of the season, last quarter of the games, the fourth quarters. That's why the Giants are where they're at. All right. Yep. But let's be realistic, though. If you're a Giant fan, this team is not as good as some of the other teams that are below them or right above them, okay? The Dallas, the Eagles, the 49ers. Listen, the Seahawks might be better than them. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, but they at least looked it in that day, okay? The Lions looked like a better team. The Lions are a very talented team, okay? If it wasn't for a couple misfortunes and their defense being so poorly, this team could be 7-3, the Detroit Lions. So that's not a bad loss. And I told you this the other day. I started predicting games. You could start seeing the thing. I told you Dallas was going to win. Dallas was going to crush Minnesota. Minnesota had been getting lucky beating teams all year long. They just came off a miraculous win in Buffalo. Dallas came off a really bad loss in Green Bay. It was set up perfect for the NFL and Dallas to dominate, okay? But we're not talking about Dallas. Giants, they're still 7-3, but the injuries, too, are catching up with them, and that's going to be a problem going forward. Now, the other sign with the Jets is, listen, this Jets team is really good. I'm a big fan of the Michael K. Show. I love Don. He's a Jet fan. But this is what he said. Zach Wilson is killing this team. This team is a Super Bowl caliber team if Jimmy G is their quarterback. Okay, this is a Super Bowl caliber team, and Jimmy G is their quarterback. The other big thing that the Jets really hurt, and I know no one could speak about this even more so, is the loss of Breece Hall when they were averaging 6 yards a carry when he was a running back. They're only averaging 3.5 with James Robinson and Michael
and
Carter.
Elijah Vera Tucker. I mean, you had like arguably an All-Pro offensive tackle. Like it was a loss. And look, it's funny, guys, because
this is a Super Bowl team, Nolan. I mean, they're close.
They have the capability.
But here's the thing: they beat Miami. I get it. Tua wasn't there. They beat Buffalo, and Josh Allen was there. They can beat any team they want to if they play
because their defense is that good. If their offense can just do half of the part,
their quarterback is holding them back, bro. He is not progressing. He is pitiful. If it wasn't, do you know he's averaging 3.5 yards pass attempt? It's twice as low as the NFL average. And I don't know if he's that bad or if LaFleur and the offense are holding him back, because I said this to you the other day. Would Zach Wilson be a better quarterback if Brian Daboll was the head coach and the offensive coordinator? Would he make Zach Wilson a better? Because Steve Young last night said the way defensive coaches handle quarterbacks in the league is a hell of a lot different than the way offensive coaches. And you could see sometimes the struggles and the differences when a guy gets a real offensive coordinator who's hands-on and much better than a guy who's like Brian Staley, the Charger head coach. Because Herbert's talented, but you question that team because of the coach. So,
Ted, you are right about that. But Nolan, here's the first thing. The first thing you have to do is take accountability when you suck.
Yeah,
that's just you gotta have leader. I don't care.
Quarterback. Everything falls on your shoulder.
I don't care who's your coach. I don't care if it's Brian Daboll or anybody. If you're not gonna have the accountability, you're not gonna show that you're a leader. That's just you need to. That's as important as the skill set than it is moving forward, Nolan.
Right. No, and I'm going to disagree with you on the offensive coordinator, because I went through the 22 film. I'm watching it, and there are guys wide open. Like LaFleur, I think a great example of LaFleur being an offensive coordinator is when Joe Flacco, and I think we can agree Joe Flacco is at the end of his rope. When he is filled in for the Jets, he averages over 300 passing yards in this offense. You look at when Mike White stepped in last year, he threw for over 400 yards against the Bengals. Yeah. Through 70 yards on the first drive in Indianapolis before he got hurt. So it kind of is just that I don't think LaFleur's the problem. When I'm watching the film, on the critical 3rd and 1 play, you have Elijah Moore coming on a crosser. It's 3rd and 1, right? Wide open. And even there, Michael Carter motioned out of the backfield to the flat. He was wide open. The Patriots didn't have a man following him. He was sitting there. No one was around him. The problem was by the time Zach threw him the ball, the Patriots like, oh crap, we might as well put a guy over there. So
yeah, they said he doesn't even know the playbook. That's what I was reading. That he still doesn't understand the playbook, and that's on him. That's
the important thing. He's taken a step back. This is year 2. You have look. They went out and drafted well. They got a top-notch corner. They got a number 1 type receiver in Garrett Wilson. You have weapons on this team. I know Breece Hall hurts and Elijah Vera Tucker.
Yeah,
but
think
you
about
have
it this
to
way,
take a step
guys.
forward,
like,
man.
I think if Breece Hall and Elijah Vera Tucker were healthy, you could make the case this could be a Super Bowl contender. I think they're going to be a lot better team in 2023.
If those two are there, they might be Super Bowl caliber.
You know this. They were a much better team than the New England Patriots. They
should be 8-2.
Even with Zach Wilson's 3 picks in the first game, they were still there at the end.
They were there at the end of this game.
Yeah.
The Jets, he completed 9 passes. They completed less passes than punts in that game. Zach Wilson had a 40% completion percentage. Look, the Jets aren't even asking for average quarterback play. They just need standard quarterback play. Functional.
Don't lose the game for us. Make the 2 or 3 throws that we asked you to. We're going to run the ball. We're going to play solid defense. Because this defense is top-notch, bro. This is a top 5 defense. But here's the thing. Going back to the original point, and I know I was leading us on this, both teams still have to be positive of where this is going because neither fan base probably saw us as a 5, 6, 7 seed in the playoffs. We would have took, hey, listen, we both would have took 8 and 9, 9 and 8, whatever, close just outside the playoffs and said, you know what?
But let me ask you both.
Zach's gotten better. Daniel's gotten better.
Let me ask you both.
Because here's the thing, this Jets team is not winning the Super Bowl this year, but this team can win the Super Bowl next year if they figure out who their quarterback's going to be in the future.
That's the question. Now that's the most important thing is that with the Giants are going to have to just figure out. Just got to go get some weapons. This team will be fine. The Jets could be more in a serious conversation moving forward because are they going to have to go back to the drawing boards again? Like, are they going to have to, in the sense of who is going to be the catalyst to lead this team? Who is it going to be? Because right now, I see a guy that probably just lost the locker room. And that's the most important thing.
He can gain it back. I was listening to Dominic Foxworth today, and he said if he comes in that locker room and has a press conference as a team meeting and say, listen, I screwed up. I didn't handle it right. I'm going to act professionally. I'm going to do everything in my power to lead you guys to the promised land. I will take accountability going forward. You apologize, you own it, and you move forward. And guys will respect that. This is a league where guys take guys in and give second and third chances. They'll respect that.
I respectfully disagree. Like, look, the problem is you can change a lot about a quarterback. Like, Tua is a good example. Tua had a skill set that needed to be worked on. Like, you can get better at studying film. Yep. You can get better with your mechanics. You can get better with the playbook. But I really believe that it is almost impossible to change the personality of you and the personality that you have. Because, again, this has been a troubling trend. Even after the first New England game when Zach threw 3 of the worst interceptions you will ever see in your life, he didn't take accountability then. Josh Allen was playing with his arm falling off against the Jets. And he was saying, look, I sucked. I was terrible in this game. This one's on me. Joe Burrow, when he plays bad, it's on him. Like, Rex Ryan made a great point. I do think Rex does wax poetically about when he was the coach of the Jets. But one thing he said that I completely agreed with Mark Sanchez. Was Mark Sanchez good? No. But did he handle the media well? Yes. Did he take the bullets? Yes. Did he take the bullets when he didn't have to? Yes. And I was bringing up Sam Darnold, and I do feel bad. Do I think Sam Darnold had the talent to be a franchise quarterback now? Maybe it's a little bit revisionist history, but I will say this about Sam. Sam was on a much worse team in a much worse situation than him.
And a worse coaching staff, too.
Even after the Seeing Ghost game, took responsibility. Look, it's on me. When people were blistering saying, look, Adam Gase is probably one of the worst offensive coaches we have ever seen. And people were basically flying planes over MetLife. He didn't have to. He could have easily, he's the face of the franchise. He could have disagreed, but you know what? He stuck by his head coach. It was almost to a detriment with Sam Darnold. Where you look at Zach, I'm sorry, Zach, but what is your moment? Like, at least with Sam Darnold, I can look at the Cowboys game. I can look at the Monday night game. Zach Wilson, the most memorable moment of his NFL career had nothing to do with on the field. I would argue it was that pro day. Like, yeah, he had the great touchdown.
You know what it is? When he slept with one of his mom's friends.
And look, Zach, I said of all the quarterbacks in his draft class, the Jets have done more for Zach than any other quarterback. Think about this. He's the only quarterback from his draft class that had the same head coach, the same offensive coordinator, the same GM, the same offensive scheme. And oh, by the way, a team that went out and highly invested in both the draft and free agency. And on top of all of that, when a player went down this year, quickly went to solve the problem. Mekhi Becton goes down. Bang. They bring in Dwayne Brown. When Breece Hall goes down, bang, they bring in James Robinson. Even this week, when Nate Herbert got banged up, they went out and brought Lauren Duvernay-Tardif back, who was a good player for them last year. I mean, I could make the case that no team has done more for their quarterback in that draft class than the New York Jets. And Zach has just been horrendous and just doesn't seem to get it. Like, you either get it or you don't. Like, I think Zach can improve mechanically. I think his performance on the field can improve. But when you see the defensive players liking tweets about his performance and then they're walking it back. I mean, look, if I was that defense, I'd be pissed. I mean,
you can't come out after a game like
yes.
this and say, literally, I know it was just one word, but that one word just spoke volumes to the entire franchise. You don't take any accountability. It comes off as absolutely arrogant, and it kind of just is like an example of today's society.
But Zach doesn't.
Immature.
He doesn't get the importance of it, which is alarming because we're not just talking about a game. The Jets win that game. They're in the driver's seat of the AFC East. Now they're in last place. They lose the tiebreakers. Yep. And again, I think this is more frustrating as a Jet fan. Like, you see the Jets are a better team than the Patriots. But
absolutely.
But you hear the national narrative, oh, it's the same old Jets. It's people picking on the Jets because, of course, the Jets would screw it up. Of course, the Jets walk-off punt. Like, it's like, oh, it's the same old Jets. And I keep telling people, it's not the same old Jets. If that was the same old Jets, like, they wouldn't have been in that game. They would have freaking quit in that game. And they were in it to the last whistle, even though I think the refs at that point, even though there was arguably a block in the back on that return, was just like, let's just get this freaking game over with because no one's going to score.
Well, even if they say last night there was like an extra 3 seconds that they just let wind off the clock at the end.
It's just
you definitely, there's more positive for the Jets, but the biggest question, and we know this for any team, is the quarterback. If you don't have the quarterback other than the coach, and I get it, the quarterback can drag the coach a little bit, but if you don't have the quarterback, you have nothing else because you guys have seen everything else. Now, the Giants, on the other hand, listen, man, we've been playing with house money, and we've been rolling on black. We've just been hitting black, and black's been coming out. But honestly, we just lost half our pot. All right, we lost half the pot on one shot. We're like, you know what? We've been hot. We have 5 in a row. Let's double up on black. And we listen. This team is not good enough to have 6 guys get hurt in a game. All right, not hurt enough for one of your best defensive players to get hurt on the bye week in an ATM. Not good enough to have no receivers. I mean, listen, we don't have any. This has definitely got to be one of the worst receiving cores ever. Especially now that Wan'Dale Robinson's out. At least the guy had a really good game, showed promise. Yep. He's out for the season, torn ACL, so see you next year.
Hey, at least you got rid of Fragile Tony. I mean, he's already hurt in freaking Kansas City already. It's
unfortunate. And then Galladay, I mean, he had 2 catches. Hopefully he can step up and play something. I mean, anything is better than nothing. But right now, you look at the Giants receiving core, they're going to be pulling guys out of the practice squad to play this Thursday. I mean, you couldn't have had a worse situation for the Giants this week, not only to get beat up and trounced at home against the Detroit Lions, but then lose the amount of guys that you do and then have to play 3 days later against the Dallas Cowboys who come off a 43 victory over the Minnesota Vikings. It's like Dallas, 4:30. The crowd's going to be nuts. It's going to be like 10 million people are going to be watching.
Hey, Saudi Arabia just beat Argentina in the World Cup. Anything is freaking possible, bro. The New York Giants are winning on Thursday.
I mean, listen, the only way the Giants can is they got Barkley's got to run and run and run. You got to get lucky. I just think it's really going to, if you want to look at the whole picture of this, I think it's going to be really hard for both of these teams to make the playoffs, especially now, like Nolan said, the Jets, they can win 2 or 3 games, maybe more, maybe they won't. It all depends on what happens with this quarterback situation.
I mean, I still feel your Giants have the better shot because the NFC is wide open. The AFC, there's a lot of good teams.
Listen, I would not be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants don't make the playoffs, and neither team makes the playoffs. I could see them both falling short because of tiebreakers of things, because right now The Giants are probably going to lose to Dallas, and I'm not hoping that. Listen, I'm a true fan. I'm going in with the faith that they're going to win, but I'm also a realist and understand that this team is just not as talented, and we're going beat up. We're going into like a boxing match with one arm and one leg, and we're going to try to win a match.
This team can't account. This team can only do so much. This team can only do so much with what they have, and the injuries
Washington's won 5 in a row. They've been playing better with Heineke.
And the injuries,
tough, Minnesota, and then the Colts are not an easy out no more. So the Giants can possibly win one game left.
I know we talked a lot about the Jets, but both of these teams right now, to like you said, like we both said, for them to be currently, I know the Jets 6-4 and the Giants 7-3 right now. We're usually around this time for the past 6 to 7. Let's just go for the past 10. Let's go back to the past 10 years. The past 10 years, it's been literally.
But
what position are we going to be in?
But let me ask you guys this for both teams. Look, I think both kind of have question marks at the quarterback position. But I feel right now positive about both these teams because it feels like the Jets and the Giants have both the GM and the head coach in place, which they haven't had in the last decade. And look,
I agree.
I think the Zach Wilson thing is actually a positive for the Jets because as much grief as the Johnsons get, and look, I understand that they have their warts as ownership, and even the Mara family has some warts too, but the Jets have more. But to me, it's pretty telling that either the Johnsons see that this isn't working with Zach, or they're doing what I think has happened. They're letting the football people make a decision because the quarterback position in the NFL is unlike any other position. Owners don't care about running back depth charts or offensive linemen, but the franchise quarterback, the pick you selected at number 2 overall, and you're putting this out there that he could be going to the bench, like that is a decision that you just can't make as a head coach. Like you have to run that upstairs. And it shows me that for both organizations, they're letting the football people run the operation. And you feel like you have the right people with Douglas, with Shane. You feel you have the right guys in charge. And look, for head coaching, I give Saleh a lot of credit. I know Brian Dable will probably win the coach of the year. I think Saleh needs to get a lot of credit because the Jets defense was 32nd. They're one of the top units in the NFL this year. And also with Saleh, that was a decisive decision. The Jets could have waited till Thursday. They could have waited till Friday. They could have waited till Wednesday. They could have let this drag on, but it shows me within 24 hours, like Saleh was understanding, look, I could lose the locker room or key pieces in this locker room. I have to make this decision, and it's not going to be a popular one. He's not stupid. Saleh understood the second he has that press conference, Zach Wilson was going to be the number 1 story on Monday Night Football. It was going to be the number 1 story on Tuesday. Hell, he'll probably be the number 1 story in the country in media for the rest of the week. Will he start? Who will start? Should he start? Like Saleh's no dummy, but he understands that it is important to keep this team together. And I do think the Jets are having that discussion already, which is also showing me too that they're willing to move off a mistake. I'd rather have a team admit a mistake and move off of the mistake than try to continue to make the mistake work. That doesn't work in the NFL. And look, I know that they whiffed on Wilson, but I would trust Saleh and I would trust Douglas to pick a quarterback. I would, because even though the Wilson pick didn't work out or might not work out, if they have to make a decision on a new quarterback, I trust them to make that decision.
Well, I mean, we'll see. Like I said last week, it was a make or break for both franchises. It didn't go according to plan. The Giants really maybe got exposed a little bit. Maybe the Detroit Lions really did expose the New York Giants. We knew what the New York Giants were. They're a run-heavy team, run-first team, defense, no turnovers. The injuries continue to pile up. The New York Jets, on the other hand, and hey, guess what? Now you know what Deshaun Jackson's punt return feels like. At least we both now have that. Marcus Jones is now
that was the last game of the season.
Oh, I know, but this was a huge game.
Was that for the playoffs in the division?
Yeah, that was late in the year. That was like
that was the last game.
But this was just as important for a franchise that just think about.
The Giants were also up 21 points with 17 points going.
But Trevor, it never should have come down to that freaking punt. For everyone blaming the special team,
I get it.
If Wilson can hit more in the flat there, if Wilson can complete double-digit passes, like. They win this game. Like it was so freaking infuriating.
As you could tell, we're all three of us. It's unfortunate because we've seen a lot of wins this year, surprisingly. But
Sunday was a different story. Maybe it's a telling sign moving forward. We're going to see how Thursday plays out for the New York Giants as they head into Jerry World to take on, boy, oh boy, could be the best team in the NFC. Or could it be last night's team, the San Francisco 49ers, or are we still riding high with Fly Eagles Fly? But we are Keys City. You can check us out on all social media platforms, as well as Rich Sports Talk at YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, for more Jets podcasts and stuff. But we just talk about the NFC, the New York Giants, Jets, surprises of the NFL so far. But then you really look at the juggernauts right now. It looks like the AFC, you got the Chiefs and you got the Bills. It looks like that's a two-team race. Maybe you get Baltimore, maybe Miami, maybe Cincinnati. But we're gonna stand pat with just the Bills and the Chiefs for now. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, two best quarterbacks in the game. And then the NFC.
Joe
It
Burrow,
really,
bro.
to me,
Joe Burrow, bro.
and Joe
Joe
Burrow's
Burrow,
good.
Joe Burrow
Burrow's
is legit, bro.
Joe Burrow. Oh yeah, I love Joe
Listen,
Burrow.
Joe
Don't
Mixon,
get me wrong. I love Joe Burrow. That's my guy. But then we got to get over to the NFC because
That's
NFC,
what happens when you get the quarterback right. That is what happens when you nail on the quarterback.
And then we go to the NFC right now. It really looks like it's coming down to a 3-team race because we thought, well, maybe most of the people in the world, but me over here, of course, because I'm right about Mr. Kirk Cousins, just can't deliver in the big game. And it was just more evident and clear come Sunday. That's why they're losing this week too, by the way. They are losing to the Patriots. Book it. It's the night game. It's a night game, and you know how it is. It's not. It's gonna happen. Book it.
NBC,
Well, right
can we flex the Vikings Jet game to Sunday Night Football, please? Hey, Sauce Gardner versus Justin Jefferson sounds good. I mean, yeah.
Flex the Giants and the Jets games to the Vikings at Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, just
We
not
gotta
1 o'clock.
we got to win a couple more games, and maybe that'll happen.
You look at these 3 teams right now, the 3 teams I'm talking about, the San Francisco 49ers dominating in Mexico City last night over their rivals, the Arizona Cardinals, the Dallas Cowboys with maybe, just maybe the most impressive victory. I still believe that game and the Buffalo Bills against the Los Angeles Rams opening night was the most impressive victories of the entire football season, dominating all facets of the game. And then the Philadelphia Eagles winning ugly, but still finding a way to win. I know people, they only beat them by 1 point. Hey, if you're a good team, you find ways to win. And the Philadelphia Eagles, as we know, are a good team led by a great quarterback right now in Jalen Hurts. Found a way to win the game. Wasn't pretty, but they still found a way and still lead atop of the NFC. So, guys, Chad, I'll start with you. Who is the team to beat right now? I know it's only November 22nd, but when you really look at this NFC conference, it seems like these are the 3 teams that really are going to be. Yeah. Maybe the Bucs make a surprise, but we're going to stick to the 3. Who is it to you? Is it the Cowboys? Is it the Eagles? Or is it the Niners?
It's the same team that I told you that would represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. It's the 49ers, bro. They're the best team, bro. You can make the argument that they're the best team in all football, all around with talent. Now, talent-wise, I get it. The Chiefs are the best team right now. They should be in everyone's number 1 in their power rankings, and they have the best quarterback in football.
You're on the same boat with us, buddy.
But it's the 49ers, bro. Don't let their record fool you. This is the best team, and they're getting better and better. Jimmy G looks more fluid with this offense.
What a game last night.
Oh, he's fluid. I mean, listen,
McCaffrey, man. That McCaffrey addition is
listen, all their pieces last night. Elijah Mitchell, beast running the ball. Brandon Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, Jimmy, Brett Williams just knocking.
You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. Everyone gets a touchdown.
They have superstars at every level of their defense. They have one of the best linebackers in Fred Warner. They have one of the best pass rushers in Nick Bosa. They have Eric Armstead's going to come back. They have secondary guys, Tre'Davious Ward. They have so many pieces around this team. They have a team that's been there, okay? If you're going to give me the argument, the Cowboys and Eagles, I've already seen the 49ers play the Cowboys. And this 49ers team is much better than it was last year. They have more weapons. And they went into Dallas last year and beat them. So what tells me differently this year? What makes that? Dallas was more explosive last year. They had Amari Cooper. They had Cedric Wilson. They had a healthy Dalton Schultz. They had a better team.
Is their defense better than it was last year?
No.
And their defense was nasty.
I think their defense is not better than last year because I think last year's might have been even better. But because Parsons was a stud, and you now teams are knowing how to go against Parsons. All right. So
he still dominates.
So of course he is. He's still one of the best players in the game. But if you're telling me right now, I'm going to take Jimmy G. I know that sounds stupid. We break his chops and we talk so much crap about him. But the guy wins games. And at the end of the day, you're going to trust Jalen Hurts, who's only been in 1 playoff game? You going to trust Dak Prescott, who's 1-2 in the playoffs, 1-3, can't win a game, doesn't win the big games, never does. I get it. Jimmy G's done it. Jimmy G went into Dallas last year and beat Dak Prescott. Went into Green Bay and beat. What I mean, if their safety Tark catches the ball on the middle pass in the middle of the field in the fourth quarter, the game's over. He goes to another Super Bowl in a row. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's 12 minutes away from winning a Super Bowl 2-3 years ago against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
He could be a 2-time Super Bowl quarterback. We're not even talking about Trey Lance.
Well, don't forget, he has some rings because he was with the
I get it. But listen, it's the 49ers. Now, could things change? But right now, it's the 49ers. I trust the 49ers. They can win multiple ways. They can score points with you. And if you want to play ground and pound and you want a bare knuckle fight, they will punch you in the face and fight you to the death. And I don't think any team other than maybe the Eagles in the NFC can do that same thing. The Eagles remind me a little bit because of the running game, the pound and ground. They will get better, all right, especially once they get the big guy Davis back. They signed Linval Joseph. They signed Sue. So I think that's going to help them with Fletcher Cox. That's going to make their defensive run game better. Once Goddard comes back, that'll help them in the passing game. You can definitely tell with his loss what a difference. But they have pieces. But if you're telling me right now who I want right now, I'm going to take the 49ers.
Nolan,
they can beat you in multifacets, and I think they're the most talented team, and they got all the pieces to do it. They don't have a flaw.
I would go the Eagles. And look, I think the Eagles are preparing for the 49ers because the Joseph and Sue signing is, if there's a weakness on the 49ers, it's the interior offensive line, which they're going to attack with those guys. And look, the Eagles, I feel, are going to get home field advantage. I understand they still have to go through the NFC East, but I just get this feeling that it's going to go through Philadelphia, which is a tough place to play. And look, the 49ers are great now. The biggest concern I have with the 49ers are what are they going to be in the postseason? Because you've had guys on this team that have had major injury concerns. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey. I mean, they're all healthy right now. But if they lose one of those big pieces, they are in a lot of trouble. And look, I love their defensive front. I think their secondary can be exposed a little bit. And look, the Eagles, we just go down the list of the wide receivers that they have. And Jalen Hurts is playing great football. And the one thing that I think puts them ahead of the 49ers is with Jalen Hurts, the ability to run, keep plays alive, negate some of that pass rush San Francisco has. With Garoppolo, he's an athlete, but he needs a clean pocket. He needs to be able to throw on schedule. And the Eagles have a tremendous front. I mean, let's be honest, both of those teams, do they have both the top 5 offense and defensive line units? I think you have to put them in there because of how good they are.
Weapons. No, even weapons, like you said. Once you get Goddard back, you have A.J. Brown, you got Devontae Smith, you have Miles Sanders. You got a bunch of good key pieces on that team that can make plays. And like you said, Jalen Hurts is a weapon. His legs and his arm can make plays. My thing is this. The 49ers are used to going on the road. They're road warriors, man. It doesn't matter where you want to put them. They'll come in and beat you. And beat you up. And are you able to, kind of counterpunch them? Can you maintain their ferocity and their intensity? Because sometimes teams can't match that. And it's told. I thought last year the 49ers, the way they went into Dallas last year and really took it to Dallas last year and pounded and beat them up.
And then they did it to Green Bay, and then
more talented team. Dallas was a more talented team.
Here's my key thing. I think there's a player that we're really missing that could be a true difference maker, and he was on full display on Sunday afternoon, and that's Tony Pollard. I think Tony Pollard is – you want to talk about a weapon.
He's their best weapon. He's Dallas' best weapon.
You got CD, who's has been so consistent for this Dallas offense. You got Dalton Schultz when he gets fully healthy back.
When they get Odell back,
they still – if they get Odell, that you got to keep an eye. If
they're
they get Odell,
he's going to go there.
All signs point to Odell going back. But Tony Pollard, I think the emergence of Tony Pollard as an explosive weapon out of the passing game, that is something intriguing moving forward. And they really got to get him the ball more involved. He's got to get more involved in the offense. I get it. Zeke is Zeke, and you got the contract. But they really do, because he's a stud. He's a guy that can really be a full three-down workhorse in this game moving forward. The 49ers, all these teams, have very good similarities, you would say, offensively. The quarterbacks, you have your question marks, you have your doubts about them, but they do make plays when delivered.
Well, you can make a question mark about all three of those quarterbacks.
And that's what I was – and also, all run the ball very, very well. Three of these franchises, they run the ball extremely at a high rate in this league. And the defenses, well, the 49ers have one of the best defenses in the game. The Eagles, they turn over the ball. They lead the league in turnovers. They get after you. And we know what Dallas does.
Secondary too.
And we know what yes, they have a great secondary. And we know what the Dallas Cowboys defense is all about.
Well, here's a good question for you guys. In the NFC, who would you put ahead? Who do you think is the better team between these two, or I think is in the next tier? Seattle or Tampa Bay?
Tampa
just won, but
I
would go with Tampa just because you got to take Brady, right?
And the experience.
Here's the thing. That team is talented, and they can start figuring out, and I think they are starting to figure out. They could be very dangerous. That could be your sleeping giant, which I think a lot of teams do not want to play. But if you were talking about tier, I'm taking Tampa over Minnesota. I'm taking Tampa over Seattle. I'm taking
Tampa would be 4.
How is Minnesota got the third best record, one of the top records in the NFC, and where we have them on 6th or 7th in the NFC?
Because nobody buys into Kirk Cousins,
right?
No.
Trev, they're 8-2, and I sent you the thing last night. I don't know if you saw yesterday, and I saw it on Instagram.
-2 differential.
Are they the 8-2 team that no one respects? Has there ever been an 8-2 team like that
guys,
no one respects?
It's not anything. It's not the coach. It's not the defense.
Yeah, but
hold on.
It's not the defense. They give up 40 points.
It's not okay, but it's not the offensive weapons that they have. It always comes back to Kirk freaking Cousins. We know what he is. I hate when people are like, "Oh my God, the Vikings." One of the most impressive victories. I know the Bills blew that game, but still coming back, finding a way to win at 1:00 game. But we know what Kirk Cousins is. He is a guy that is going to make plays in the 1:00 games, but when you get those moments like Sunday,
Oosh.
It's the same thing. Now I know he can't really. Now, many
what was his numbers against
not many
Dallas
guys can do what Dallas pressured 63% of the time. They got to him every play, it felt like. So you really can't blame him. But Kirk Cousins, we know what he is. He ain't going to win you the big one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They're 8-2. They're going to host a playoff game. Maybe they'll win one. But Kirk Cousins is not winning you a Super Bowl. It's just evident.
No, and here's the other thing. And Steve Rizzo I'll put it on this.
You can argue.
I'm not taking.
I get what you're doing this season.
I would take Dallas. That defense is so good that.
Yeah, the Patriots the Bucks need a team that basically doesn't have a great pass rush, and they have a great pass rush. And that's gonna be the biggest weakness. With Tampa is going to be those are your 4 teams though, and I think in the AFC I think it's easy for your. Well, actually, it's not easy for your 4. I think the AFC is wide open. It's much different than the NFC. Listen, Miami, if they get hot, they can make a run. Cincinnati is a dangerous team. Chase comes back healthy with Joe Mixon. No one wants to play Joe Burrow, bro. That guy, when he's down, he's like Patrick Mahomes. He's more dangerous down than he is up. All right. I don't think their defense is good this year, though.
And then the Bills and the Chiefs are still. And Trev, I think you've been talking about it. No one talks about the Ravens, and they just keep finding ways to win and finding ways to win. We
forget Miami though. Miami's got the number one seed in the AFC East right now.
Well, that's the thing. If they get hot, they could be this year's Cincinnati. So that's different. That's what I say is the NFC. I think when we talk about these, at the end of the day, it comes down to the Super Bowl, right? So I think when you talk about the NFC, I think other than those 4 teams that we mentioned in the NFC, Tampa, Eagles, Cowboys, and 49ers. I don't think anyone else is coming out of the NFC. I think we all agree, right? Those will be. There's really don't trust Minnesota, Seattle, or anyone else. No. Giants, Washington.
You could see 8 teams coming out of the AFC. Meanwhile,
and that's what I'm saying.
Guys, I don't.
I could see Cincinnati. I could see Baltimore. I could see the Dolphins if they get hot. They got the weapons. Bills and Chiefs. Can
I just say?
And here's the other thing: you can't count out Tennessee.
6 teams for me. There's 6 teams. That's it. There's 3 in the NFC. Maybe you get the Bucks.
Who are you counting out? You're not counting the Bucks?
I just think with that offense,
the Dallas Cowboys over
let me answer the question.
Well, I'm coming at you.
When the Bucks' biggest weakness is the Eagles, 49ers, and Dallas Cowboys' greatest strength, the Bucks have a terrible offensive line. All three of those teams have great pass rushes.
Quick passing game.
Brady is a statue in the pocket. Get after Brady. We already have seen this multiple
They already
times.
beat
It's
Dallas.
going to be okay, but I think this is a different
Dallas
Dallas
was
team
healthy.
now. This is a different Dallas team now.
Oh, are they?
I will take my chances with those three because of the lack of the offensive line.
I
And
wouldn't go against Brady.
the AFC, I'm still riding with the Bills. Don't care. They got Josh Allen. They're going to be fine. The Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. My God, what else is there to say about him? And then I'm going to just go with the Cincinnati Bengals because they did it last year. And then Joe B, like you
You're
said,
not going
Joe
with
B.
Lamar and the Ravens? You don't trust Lamar and the Ravens?
I love Lamar. I just think with the lack of weapons, I think that's going to come back to haunt them.
I agree with that. I think that the Ravens could make a run, but he's got to be basically Superman. I mean, we're also, I think teams are going
and I'm not buying into Miami because they're going to have to go on the road unless they get the 1 seed.
That's what I was
going to go on the road.
I will
and you
say,
don't trust Tua in the cold.
if Miami can get a home playoff game and make it a track meet, it really is going to come down to who gets the number 1 seed. Like if it's a clear field, I mean, Waddle and Hill can make plays. I mean, if we were to talk about non-quarterback for MVPs, Tyreek Hill's got to be in that discussion. I mean, how good he's been. I'm not sure how great he's going to be at this level, but man, like
Tua on Miami goes in and beats Kansas City in the divisional round.
No, I don't see that.
I don't trust. And my thing is,
Tyreek Hill sprinting down the sideline with the ball in his hand.
I don't trust Tua in a big moment like that. I have to see it.
Listen, he's got 4 games to prove. He's got to finish out the season, like you said, Trevor. People forget there's still 6 weeks of the season left, man. So there's still a lot of football.
7.
Is there?
7. Yeah. So there's still a lot of football. What are we, week 11? So
no,
it's week 18.
No, it's week 12.
Now we're in week 12, but there's still.
Oh my God, we're already in week 12. Slow down, NFL. Slow down.
Thanksgiving. This is the time now. We're hitting Thanksgiving.
This is where you start to find out.
Can we get the lines off of Thanksgiving though? Like,
hold on, quick thing.
Do you know they were the original team?
I know, but just because you were the original, like.
Don't be surprised, no. That game
it better be a game.
That game could be. I know that Buffalo's got a great offense, but so does the Lions, and they play well at home. That could be a very, very.
And maybe they come off a big win.
What's the Thursday night game for Thanksgiving? I know
Kirk Cousins against the Patriots.
Yes.
The Patriots are winning.
It's going to be the most boring game in the world. Patriots are going to win 10-3.
Before we sign off, because we won't be back before Thanksgiving, give me your 3 winners on Thursday.
Bills, Cowboys, and I'm gonna go with the Patriots.
There you go.
I think it's gonna be an ugly game, and people are gonna complain about on Friday how boring it is. But I mean, look, Patriots got a good defense. They're not gonna make the dumb mistake. They're gonna be a tough out, and I just feel like Minnesota, there's gonna be so much pressure on them, and if they lose that game, it almost feels like they're gonna start spiraling.
Ted, what do you got?
Bills, Cowboys, and the Vikings, bro. Listen, the NFL works in funny ways. Minnesota's going to dominate New England. They're coming off a bad loss. Everyone is talking about how bad it. Everyone's talking about how bad it. Watch.
Wait,
Kirk Cousins
is it in New England?
No, it's in Minnesota.
Minnesota's going to win. Kirk Cousins is going to be the MVP of the game. He's going to get the turkey. He's going to be popping chains, hanging turkey legs.
Yeah, popping chains. Don't ever bring the popping chains back out, Kirk. You just lost by 37, bro.
If it's going to be any MVP, it's going to be Justin Jefferson or Dalvin Cook, because one of them's going to have like 2 touchdowns, basically. It's not going to be Kirk Cousins. It's not.
Kirk Cousins, bro. I'm telling you, we'll be talking on Friday. And
I hate to do it, but the Bills, I think that Bills game is going to be a lot closer than people expect. I think that's going to be a fun game to watch.
It's going to be fun.
Giants and Dallas. I mean, I would love to see the Giants win. But with the injuries piling up, Dallas coming off the huge win, that defense is dominant. You got to be smart. You got to be smart. I want the Giants to win. I want the Giants to win more than anything. Beat Dallas, please.
Wait,
but it's gonna be
what
tough.
are they? Wait, what are they wearing?
Dallas is wearing.
They're wearing. Are the Giants wearing like those all?
No, they're wearing the blue. No, they're wearing blue. They're wearing the basic blue.
No. I think Cowboys are wearing their throwbacks though.
Yeah, Giants are wearing the blue too.
I think they're wearing the white.
I'm telling you.
I think they're wearing white.
Giants are wearing blue.
No, because the Cowboys don't have the white. I think the Cowboys are wearing the white.
Yeah, they have the white helmet.
Guys, I already saw the jersey concepts. They're wearing blue.
All right.
I agree. I said we just.
But they got
Yeah,
white
it's
helmets.
right.
Dallas is wearing alternate white helmets now. So
Yeah, the white helmet with the blue star, and
Yeah.
then the white jersey with the blue
We'll see what
shoulder thing,
happens.
right?
And then I'm going with the Patriots. Good old Kirk Cousins going to show up.
You guys are both
My
wrong
time.
on this.
It's Kirk Cousins in 8 o'clock games, bro.
New
Come on.
New England sucks, bro. All right.
They got a good
You
defense.
have two
so they got
more.
a
They
chance.
should not be as good. The Jets should have beat them twice, but they got the worst quarterback in the league. Okay.
That's true, but
Right now, he's the worst quarterback in the league. Sorry, I'll
Oh.
take Russell Wilson. Zach
Oh.
Wilson. The Jets would
Yeah.
love to have Russell Wilson.
not
Yes.
with that freaking contract.
No.
Russell Wilson's a-
But
I'd
here's
rather
the
have
thing.
Derek.
Russell Wilson.
I'd rather have Derek Carr personally if I had to take a pick.
Give
for
me
next
Derek
season.
Carr. We love Derek Carr. He's
Not
starting
in
to
New
play
York-
better.
Not at the New York Giants. See you later.
We'll see what happens. But yes, we will not be back until after Thanksgiving. So we'll be back later in the week. Everybody from the Keys to the City family and Rich Sports Talk, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy Turkey Day. Enjoy some football. Go Big Blue. We'll see what happens. We'll be back at the end of the week. And plus, a huge college football week because it's Ohio State, Michigan time. Let's go.
Yeah.
Buckeyes. Let's go, Buckeyes. Time to shut them up and
Mm.
get them away after their
Eh.
little 1 year hurrah. Not anymore. Buckeyes, baby. Buckeye Nation. Here we come. We'll see you next episode. We're Keys to the City. We are out. Happy Thanksgiving.
See you.
You are now in tune to the Keys to the City podcast.